Luz y Progreso, Paz y Justicia. This is your host, Salsista, Brujo Luis. So I've been receiving a lot of emails from people messaging me, asking me, what is that instrument that you play in one of your videos? And a lot of people are associating it with like country music and bluegrass music. And so I have a few of these instruments with me. I like to play a lot of instruments in my spirituality. And so I brought a few here. So you can see these are just the cases, but I brought a few here. Yes, people associate these with bluegrass and country music and maybe Snoopy, but this tool is an ancient tool, one of the most oldest instruments that we have. The oldest jaw harp, as it's called in English, was found 4,000, or the remnants of a jaw harp was found in ancient China 4,000 years ago. Okay, so what you guys saw me playing was the jaw harp. So you will find many forms of jaw harps, as it's called in English, throughout Asia, right? You'll find a version of the jaw harp in India. You will find a version of the jaw harp in China, in Japan, in Tibet, in Nepal. It is a sacred tool used by shamans in Mongolia, in Siberia, in Tuvan shamanism. So this is an ancient tool that many shamanic practitioners of these countries use to speak or to go into the world of spirit. So the superior musical instrument used in Mongolian shamanism, in Siberian shamanism, is of course the shamanic drum, the frame drum. But there was a time where any person in these places, in these countries, were caught playing with a drum, they would be accused of witchcraft, sorcery, and many people lost their lives just for having a shamanic drum or a hoop drum. Some people call it a frame drum. And so shamans, especially in Mongolia, in Siberia, they were losing their tool, their sacred tool that helped them go into the world of spirit, go into the three worlds, the middle world, the upper world, and the lower world. So these shamans had to adapt and find other ways to meditate, to ground themselves, and to find a tool where they could use that is not as loud as the shaman drum, right? Because the drum can be loud, but a quiet enough sound that it gets them into that frame of mind where they're completely in theta brainwaves, where they can go and flight, a spirit flight, right, into the world of spirit. And so what was the tool that they adapted? The jaw harp. So there is even a folklore, a legend about the jaw harp within some Mongolian and Siberian shamanism. And so the story goes, there was a time, let's say in Mongolia, in Siberia, where hunters would go out to hunt and they wouldn't find animals. They couldn't find animals to hunt so that they could feed themselves and clothe themselves. So they went to a shaman and they asked this shaman, could you go into the world of spirit and could you track animals for us so that we could hunt? And the shaman agreed. So the shaman started doing his sacred medicine. He prepared his sacred space. He started playing the drum, and he started going into spirit flight. And as he's playing his drum, his spirit goes into flight, into shaman flight. And he's flying above the skies, looking, he becomes a hawk, and he's looking for animal, something to feed and clothe his people, the tribe. And he came across a bear. So he came down from the sky as an eagle, sat on a branch and took on this human form and was watching the bear. And he took from his shamanic tools a bow and arrow. And when he was ready to shoot this bear, he saw that the bear was scratching his back on a tree. And as he was scratching, there must have been like a loose part of the tree that when the bear was scratching, it made this sound, boing. It made this vibrational sound, something like this. So this, of course, intrigued the shaman. He couldn't shoot the bear, but then again, he went into spirit flight and he found a plain where there was a bunch of deers, and he came back into his body and he told the hunters where these deers were, and he stayed with this thought about this bear scratching his back on a tree trunk and that vibrational noise that the bear's back made on that piece of wood that was hanging from the tree. So the shaman went outside and took some wood, some bark, and he started carving. And he started carving and carving, and he created what would be the base of the first shaman harp, the first jaw harp, and he learned how to use it. And that is just the folklore of how the jaw harp came into existence. So the jaw harp has many names in various different countries. The jaw harp, the Jew harp, that's what we call it here. In India, it is known as a morchang. In Thailand, it is known as a danmoy. In Mongolian shamanism, is known as a kur. And in Siberia, it is known as the komus. So there's many ways of playing or using the jaw harp. It is held in the base, and in India, they play it this way. The marchang, they play it by placing it on their teeth, their open mouth, as the jaw harp should be played universally. Don't close the lips, and you place it on your teeth, and they use this pointer finger to hit the tongue. Now in bluegrass, American bluegrass, you'll see that they hit the jaw harp sort of like this. Or they will use their whole, kind of like this movement. Now in Mongolian and Siberian shamanisms, the shamans will hit this part with their hand, kind of like laying like this way, and they strike it with this phalange right there, and so they strike the tongue that way. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to remove my glasses to do so. So it's played like this in Mongolian and Siberian shamanism. So the jaw harp doesn't only help us get into alpha and theta brainwaves, which is associated with relaxation and deep meditation, but it also has a lot of health benefits. Not only can the jaw harp help us in meditation, in allowing us to flight into the three spiritual realms, but it also has health benefits. It can help us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Played carefully, it could strengthen your teeth. It can help us normalize our blood pressure. It helps us with our metabolism, and it could also help you with your immune system. It helps us in reducing stress. It's great for focus, so we can focus more, to enhance mindfulness. It also aids us in emotional release. It helps us to emotionally release baggages or stuck energy or stuck emotion just by playing the jaw harp. And finally, it aids us in calling on wind horse, our own personal power. I try to keep it different with every video that I do. I don't want to regurgitate what everyone else is talking about, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the spiritual uses of the jaw harp, the Shaman Jaw Harp. Ciao.